Good afternoon, students. In this class, we are going to study about the criticisms of quantity theory of money given by Irving Fisher. In previous class, we have discussed about the assumptions and the two versions of quantity theory of money given by Irving Fisher. Now, in this, we are going to start from the criticism. The quantity theory of money, as given by Fisher, has been widely criticized because it has been said that the cause and effect relationship, the quantity of money and price level is very loose and very uncertain. Therefore, it is a dangerous to depend upon this theory. So there are a lot of criticisms of quantity theory of money given by Irving Fisher. So the following are the some of the criticisms that we are going to discuss. First criticism is that equation of exchange is a truism. That means it is based on a true thing. That means some certain things are well known, or they are known to everybody that it is true. So same way, this equation of exchange is known to everyone and there is no need to prove it. So Fisher's equation of exchange is a truism. That is, it seeks or tries to prove which is self proven. That means ki which is already proved and everybody knows, and it tries to prove that thing. Just as no proof is needed to prove that 2 into 2 makes 4. So 2 multiplied by 2 makes 4. There is no need to prove this. Similarly, the means of payment must be equal to the actual payment, which indicates price level multiplied by volume of transaction must be equal to money payment multiplied by its velocity of circulation. That means the equation that we have seen, mv is equal to pt, that is a self proven equation. It has to be always equal, so there is no proof required to understand that. As pointed out by Crowther, the equation of exchange does not say anything new about money or prices. It merely restates in a brief and in a convenient manner what is self-evident. That means it is a restatement or presenting something which is already accepted by everybody in a different manner. So it is based on a truism. That is why it is not considered as a new theory of money. Second criticism is unrealistic assumption. Now, in Fisher's theory, we have seen that it is based on the assumption of other things remaining equal, which is not justifiable. While explaining the theory, Fisher has assumed certain things to remain constant in the short run. Thus, according to him, factors like volume of transaction, velocity of circulation of money, methods and techniques of production, population of the country, per capita output, and consumption habits of people do not change in the short run. They are assumed to be constant. But these assumptions are unrealistic because there is nothing in this dynamic world which is not changing. We are living in a dynamic world, not in a static world where things remain as it is. Therefore, we can say that the quantity theory of money is based on several unrealistic assumptions. So the theory is therefore applicable only in a static economy, not in an economy which is keep on changing or which is dynamic in nature. And most of the economies in the world are dynamic in nature nowadays. Third criticism is the different variables of equation are interrelated with each other. If you remember, we have seen that mv is equal to pt, where P is equal to MV divided by T, and it is assumed that P is a passive factor. That means P gets affected by other factor, but it does not affect other factors. But in reality, all factors are interdependent on each other. Therefore, it has been assumed in the theory that different variables of the equation like M, V, P and T are independent of each other. But in fact, it is not the case. The variables of the equation of exchange are interdependent and interrelated on each other. For example, according to this theory, changes in the price level is a function of changes in the quantity of money, which means the price level depends upon quantity of money. We have seen that whenever the quantity of money gets double, price will also get double. So in the theory, it is assumed that there is a direct and proportionate relationship between quantity of money and level of price. But the experience has shown that the price level may change even though there is no change in the quantity of money. Then why it is changing? It is changing because of the velocity of circulation of money has changed. Like we have seen, P is equal to MV divided by T. So even if your that quantity of money is not changing, but M into V, that is velocity. So if quantity of money remains same and velocity changes, then also your price level is going to change. That is not shown in this theory. Therefore, it is considered as the uh, drawback or criticism of QTM. Fourth criticism is the theory emphasizes only on the medium of exchange function of money. While discussing the functions of money, we have seen money has to perform many functions. These functions can be grouped into primary, secondary, and contingent. So in a primary function, we have medium of exchange and measure of value. So this theory considers only one function of money, that is medium of exchange, and ignores other functions of money. So this is partial theory based on a one function of a money. So Fisher's theory regards money only as a medium of exchange which is required for the transaction purpose alone. It is assumed that the demand for money arises mainly from the volume of transaction to be carried out by it. But it should be noted that money is not only acting as a medium of exchange, but it also performs a function of store of value. That means it is not necessary that if I want to do the transaction, then only I will demand the money. I will demand money for storing the value of other things also. So store of value is also an equally important function of money which is ignored in this theory. Now, according to Keynes, demand for money arises not only for transaction purpose but for other purposes also, like precautionary motive, speculative motive. If you remember, while discussing demand for money, we have discussed about the Keynesian theory, that is Keynesian liquidity preference theory. In that, we have seen people would like to hold cash or liquid for the three motives, that is precautionary, transaction and speculative. So QTM considers only one motive of keeping cash, that is your transaction, and it ignores the precautionary and speculative motive. That is why this is a partial theory or incomplete theory. Another criticism of QTM is the theory ignores the influence of non-monetary factors. See, the quantity of money is not only, or the value of money not only depends on monetary factors, but it also depends upon non-monetary factors, which is ignored by this theory. So, according to this theory, price level is influenced by changes in the quantity of money. That is, monetary factors are going to affect the general level of prices. But in real life, besides monetary factors, there are certain non-monetary factors also that influences the price level. For example, changes in consumers' taste and preference, habits, fashion, production technique, etc. Therefore, they are also affecting the general price level in economy. And Fisher's theory ignores non-monetary factors of QTM. Sixth criticism is technical inconsistency in the equation of exchange. So there is a technical problem in the equation of exchange represented by Fisher. The equation is MV is equal to PT. So that is the base for entire QTM, and this equation is having a technical inconsistency. How? According to Ham, the significance of equation of exchange is further reduced as it is having a technical inconsistency by using M and B. As we know, in QTM, M refers to the quantity of money at a point of time, at a given point of time, whereas V indicates the velocity of circulation of money, which is over a period of time. That means M is a stock concept and V is a flow concept, and therefore technically it is inconsistent to multiply two factors which are referring to a different time period or which are having a different characteristics. So consequently, the expression MV involves inconsistency of multiplying two non-comparable factors, because we cannot make comparison of M and V, because one refers to the point of time, another refers to the period of time. That is, one is a stock concept, another is flow concept. That is why this is having a technical inconsistency, and this reduces the importance of QTM, or it reduces the validity of QTM. Another criticism of QTM is unrealistic assumption of full employment. Full employment condition is assumed in QTM, but according to Keynes, J.M. Keynes, a fundamental objection raised by Keynes against cash transaction theory is that it is based on the unrealistic assumption of full employment. It should be noted that full employment is a rare phenomena, that is rare concept in modern capitalist economy. It is not general thing which is prevailing. Therefore, Keynes said that full employment is not existing, but we have to attain full employment, and attainment of full employment is not an ordinary task or normal task. It is an rare situation. If there is an if there is unemployment or less than full employment in the economy, increase in quantity of money will enable the fuller or better utilization of unemployed or idle resources, which will lead to the increase in output, and as a result general prices may not rise. That means if economy is operating, that is below full employment level, then even if the quantity of money is increasing, it is not going to increase your price level, because resources are unemployed or idle. So this relationship which is explained by the Fisher, that whenever there is an increase in quantity of money, price level will increase, it is possible only at full employment level, not below full employment level. Therefore, this theory is referring to a situation which is rare to attain or rare to achieve. Another criticism of quantity theory of money is that the theory does not take into account the influence of rate of interest. See, it ignores the effect of rate of interest on price level. It has also been said that the theory is inadequate, that is insufficient, as it takes no account of the influence of rate of interest. According to John Robinson, changes in the quantity of money are of utmost importance. That is, they are of most importance, but their importance lies in the influence upon the rate of interest. And the theory of money which does not mention the rate of interest is not a theory of money at all. That means the rate of interest is going to affect the money, and any theory which is formulated by ignoring or not considering rate of interest will be not a monetary theory at all, or it will not be accepted as a true theory of money. That is why this QTM is not accepted by many of the economists, because it is having a several drawbacks or limitations. Further, the immediate effect of increase in quantity of money is not reflected on the price level but on the rate of interest, as QTM believes that whenever there is an increase in the quantity of money, the price level will also increase. But critics are saying that the quantity of money is not going to affect immediately on price level. First, it will have effect on rate of interest. For example, an increase in M tends to reduce the rate of interest, which would encourage investment, leading to increase in output, employment, and income. This increased investment expenditure along with the consumption expenditure would then determine the price level. That means that quantity of money is not directly related with money, but there are so many other channel or that media out of which the price level will be changing. So there is not a direct relationship between uh, quantity of money and price level. So it has to change via other factors. So if other factors in between are not changing in the required proportion, then the price level is not going to change in the same proportion in which quantity of money has changed. If you remember, QTM is saying that other things remaining constant, if quantity of money is doubled, then price level will also be doubled. But it is not true, because price level is affected by several other components also. So it the effect may be less than double, but it is not going to be exactly double. Another criticism of QTM is, according to Crowther, the quantity theory of money merely explains how does it work, but does not explain why does it work. That means it is just showing a relationship between two variables, but they are not showing that why this is happening. So they are just trying to exhibit or show the relationship which is existing, but they are not trying to explain the reason for that relationship. For example, like in QTM, it is said that whenever there is an increase in quantity of money, price level will also increase. So it is just showing a relationship, but not explanation. Why it will change, it is not shown. Thus, the theory gives explanation as how changes in value of money will take place, but fails to explain why these changes will take place. That means it is just explaining the concept of how, but not why. It is not giving the reason for that. Another criticism that is of quantity theory of money is the theory is a static theory and explain long run phenomenon. In the previous drawbacks or criticisms we have seen, the theory is based on a static analysis. Again, Fisher's theory is a static theory of money as it is applicable during a period and in a world where things are assumed to be constant. But we are living in a dynamic society where other things are constantly changing. The theory therefore has a little relevance or no relevance for a study of an economy which is having a fluctuations or having a dynamic conditions. So these are some of the criticisms of quantity theory of money. Further, moreover, the theory is inadequate to explain the process of short run changes in price. At the best, it can be of some help in explaining long run tendency. That means this theory, if at all is having any use, then it will be only applicable in the long run, not in a short run. Therefore, the theory is like a phenomenon of long run equilibrium, which is like tomorrow never comes. That means in the long run, nobody will be there to see that what the theory is saying, whether it is that applicable or it is happening or not. So we all know that future is uncertain. So this theory is based on a long run and based on a assumption of that long run equilibrium. So these are some of the criticisms of quantity theory of money. So students, that's all for the today's class. In next class, we will be discussing another new topic of this theory of money, that is another version. This version is known as a cash transaction version of QTM. Now in next class we are going to study about the cash balance version of QTM. Thank you.